get ready. Okay, stand by for us.
Ladies and gentlemen,
One second, if you can. We need to go, guys.
ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for being with us here this morning. Unfortunately, last night there was an accident between Montrose and Teutopolis on Route 40. An anhydrous truck unfortunately rolled over. Very serious accident. And we're all here this morning undergoing cleanup. Folks are still responding. I want to thank all the first responders that have came out. I want to thank Sheriff Paul Coons and the gentleman, Tim McMahon, standing next to me, that have been essentially working all night trying to reach a resolution to this matter as quickly as possible. Last night we had multiple folks throughout the village of Teutopolis evacuated, unfortunately, due to this event, and our prayers are with those who have been affected. I will let the experts who have been working diligently all night on this matter speak more to exactly what happened and to the status of the ongoing cleanup between Teutopolis and Montrose. But I just want to say my prayers go out to everybody affected, and hopefully we can get this cleaned up and everybody restored back to their homes as soon as possible. But it's very important to give emergency personnel all the resources they need, not only from the state, but locally. Folks, just stay clear until you are advised that you can be back in your residence. Give them enough time to where they can figure this situation out. Again, it's fluid. With that, I'd like to give it to Sheriff Paul Coons, the Effingham County Sheriff. Paul.
Good morning. Thank you for coming this morning. Up here with me, I want to introduce Acting Lieutenant Bruce Wagner with the Illinois State Police and Teutopolis Fire Chief Tim McMahon. First off, the families and all those affected have our deepest sympathy. And we realize that by these road closures, by the evacuations, what a hardship that is to several of our citizens in Teutopolis and the surrounding area. But what I can do is ask, please cooperate with this as we mitigate this hazmat. Really, the people that are really doing the heavy lifting and the work here are out at that scene. We have a lot of brave firemen, EMT, hazmat specialists, police officers that are working on the scene as we speak. Last night, a little before 9 p.m., the Effingham County Sheriff's Office received a notice of an accident. This accident caused a large cloud of anhydrous ammonia on the roadway that caused terribly dangerous air conditions in the northeast area of Teutopolis were evacuated because of it. Because of these conditions, the emergency responders had to wait. They had to mitigate the conditions before they could really get to work on it. And it was a fairly large area before they could get actual access to the crash site. I am sorry to say that we do have multiple fatalities, and I'm sorry to say I don't have that exact number for you. We're still dealing with the crash and the emergency caused by the anhydrous ammonia spill, and we will have and release more information as it becomes available. There are several agencies on site, which include almost all of our local fire departments and several of our police departments and the Illinois State Police. With that, I will turn it over to Acting Lieutenant Bruce Wagner.
Thank you, Sheriff. We share the concerns that the sheriff expressed for the citizens in the Teutopolis area due to the crash and the partial evacuation of the town, and we are working as quickly and as safely as we can to identify anyone who needs help and to get you more information as soon as possible. A little before 5 p.m. last night, a crash on Interstate 70 just east of Effingham caused traffic to be rerouted to US Highway 40. At approximately 9:25 p.m., ISP was alerted to a separate crash that occurred around 8:40 p.m. on US Highway 40, about a half-mile east of Teutopolis, involving multiple vehicles, including a tanker truck leaking anhydrous ammonia. Due to the plume from the ammonia leak, the people within an approximate 1-mile radius of the crash on US Highway 40, including the northeastern parts of Teutopolis, were evacuated. The plume also created dangerous conditions, and the crews were not immediately accessible to the scene of the crash. US Highway 40 between Teutopolis and Montrose, they are closed due to the crash and remain closed at this time. The cause of this crash is still under investigation. The ISP will continue to investigate the crash, including traffic crash reconstruction. ISP will remain on site to assist as fire and hazmat crews handle the tanker and ammonia leak. With more information about the ammonia leak and what is being done, I'd like to turn it over to Teutopolis Fire Protection District Chief Tim McMahon.
Tim McMahon, MCMAHON, Fire Chief of Teutopolis Fire Protection District. Last night the tanker was carrying anhydrous ammonia and began leaking after it was rolled over in the ditch. The last few hours we've been working hard on a plan to offload the tanker. Late last night a hazmat team had patched the ruptured area of the tanker, which slowed it down, but it did not stop the leak. At that time last night, right after the call, we did enact a reverse 911 plan after arriving on the scene. That plan covered approximately 2 square miles. This morning, we're still continuing to barricade and prevent motorists from traveling near the spilled area. We're currently working on getting our plan together, and that's what I'm going to do when I get back. So that's all I have.
As mentioned earlier, we'll try to take a few questions. I will say that there is information that we don't have, but if you have a question that we can answer, I'd be more than happy to.
Could you explain the 5 deaths again? The people that died, was it involved in the wreck or was it residents from the leak?
I don't have all that information, and anything I'd say would be closer to conjecture, but the accident scene was large where this happened.
Do we have some kind of information on the capacity of this tanker? I mean, do you know, Tim?
No, I really don't know.
Okay.
If it's a semi-tanker, well, it is. It's a semi-tanker,
semi-tanker.
and I believe that they're about 7,500 gallon. That's my terms, in layman terms.
Okay.
Is how big a tanker it should have been.
Okay. And did you work just on the, I just want to make sure for what was said a little earlier, you just worked on evacuating the east side of T-Town at first and then expanded it, or how did that work?
The east side of T-Town was
Yeah.
evacuated as per guidelines that are set forth for hazardous materials and dealing with the specific material we had spilled.
And Lieutenant, you mentioned that we had another wreck on I-70, and then we had we had a detour along 40, and I just want to make sure the tanker was in that traffic, or had it already had that wreck?
The tanker was in the diverted traffic,
Okay.
and then had the crash.
What's your advice for the residents? How long will this take for them to be able to get back into their homes? Do you guys have a time period on that?
No. I know that there are a lot of people out there that are working very hard to get that product out of there, to get it offloaded. Once we get the product offloaded and away from the scene, I think things will return back to normal fairly quickly. But it is a complicated situation because of the accident, the damage done to the trailer and to the truck, and it's flipped over. So that is what is causing most of the trouble.
I've noticed people pulling up to the state troopers along the road and wanting to get back to their homes. That would patience be your advice to some of them? I know you guys are trying to do as quickly as possible.
Well, I understand. I understand how frustrating that would be to not be allowed to travel or to go back home. But we really need to focus our resources on this spill and on this situation. So if people could have as much patience, that's what I would ask for. And they'll get it. They'll get it cleaned up. They will get it, but it's a complicated scene. There are a lot of people working hard on it.
And I could follow up to that question. Tim and folks in Teutopolis, all the Teutopolis Fire Protection District, everybody involved. I went through town this morning, and they're working as hard as they can. So just patience on this. When something happens such as this, just give these guys a little bit of time. They've been up since this happened, and they're really trying to reach a resolution as quickly as possible, get everybody back in their homes safely.
Question, the current weather conditions, we don't have a prevailing wind or anything like that. We've had a heavy fog. Has that added to some of the frustration in this situation?
Yes, it has. We kind of fought that all night last night. Just wind changed 3 or 4 different times on us. So that's another reason we got crews out at different places, kind of reporting back on which way the wind's going.
And we've been getting up to date and constant weather reports from the National Weather Service, which helps. But any amount of wind or weather will complicate this process immensely. They're not calling for a lot, but any change makes things difficult.
What makes the anhydrous so dangerous? Just to update our viewers on the gas itself.
Anhydrous, and Tim, I'm sorry, you're probably better to answer this, but it attaches itself to mucous membranes and moist surfaces. It's terrible. It's bad stuff if you are involved in it. Breathe it, especially because it gets in your airways, in your lungs, and it burns.
Did we have some people who have been air-vac to hospitals in the region? Is anybody aware of that?
We airlifted 5 people out, I think, for a total last night. One by ground and airlifted 5.
So 5 airlifted and then 1 by ground.
Yep.
Did any senior living facilities or group homes have to be evacuated as part of the evacuations?
I do not
No,
know.
it's not that I'm aware of.
No.
There aren't any, excuse me, those mostly reside in Effingham. There aren't any in Teutopolis. Okay, without any further questions, thank you, folks. This will be a very fluid situation. We'll be back again later on this afternoon with updates. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.